All righty. Good morning, everyone. My goodness, if you were checking for us, we are indeed off to a delayed start on this here Monday morning because of, you know, lovely technical difficulties. Oh my goodness, what a challenge. Okay, so if you are joining or if you are listening to the replay or watching the replay, welcome to Coffee Time Career Chat. My name is Patricia Hayes. I am an executive advisor, career empowerment coach, and authentic networking strategist. And all that means is I love working with people who are truly looking to up level in their careers and their businesses and to reach that in a new and empowered level, new and empowered way, I should say, and building on the successes that they've had before and going to the next level, right? But also making sure that they're doing so in a very authentic way, particularly as they reach out to their professional relationships and build those relationships that will support them, not just today, but in the long terms, right? So we want long term, sustainable, authentic relationships so that we can have long term, professional success, whatever that might be and whatever that might look like for you. So, welcome. And today we are talking about and finishing up a series. We're talking about looking beyond your circle for inspiration. And I kind of thought it was time to revive this topic. It is one we've done before, but I wanted to revive it and bring it back because it is that time of the year, right? Where we've made it through the first 3 months of the year. And now it's a matter of what do we need to do to keep moving forward? And we've been focused on growth this past month and these past few weeks. And this is one of those things that is key to growth, which is, maintaining that ability to be inspired because it does take effort. You have to leave yourself open, you have to be vulnerable, all of those good things. But then also, what does it mean to move beyond being inspired by the people or things that you're currently looking at and following? Because that takes deliberate effort as well. That's what we're going to talk about today while we work through it. But first, let's take a look back at inspiration. What does that mean? And a lot of times it's when we see or read something or a person that we connect with, right? There's a connection at whatever level, emotional level, spiritual level. Um, just there's a connection there. And that connection causes us to feel good about something, to say, oh my gosh, this is great. And it rebuilds or creates some confidence that we did not have, perhaps. And it also helps in shifting our mindset. It's that old thing of like, they are showing me that I can do this, right? They're saying, or I'm reading this, and it's like I can do whatever it is that I want to do next, or however I approach, or helping you to feel confident that you're not out on an island by yourself. And so inspiration can sometimes lead to action, but not all of the time. And I make that distinction because sometimes people have to be motivated to take that inspiration that then motivates you to take action. And when you're motivated by something, you then are ready to jump in and take the action that you need to. And that's a little distinction I wanted to make up front because we're talking about utilizing inspiration that will feed you into taking action, not to just sit there and say, oh, that was lovely. That made me feel really good, and then move on. That's not what we're talking about here. Okay. So I want to lay that out up front. Now, this we want to get through. We got 4 things we want to point out about this looking beyond your circle for inspiration piece. The first one is that we have to be willing to release old habits that no longer serve you. Here we are back to that habit conversation. Here's the thing, there's a couple of different things in there. Old habits, well, first, we have to release, right? So that means you're holding on to something. They're old habits. So they're things that you've been doing. I'm not going to say that they're bad. Some of them may have become bad habits or whatever, but they're just old habits. So they could have been good things, but they're old. They've been around a while. And here's the third part to that. They don't serve you anymore. So even if it's a great habit, it was a good habit, but it's no longer serving you, well, guess what? Now you're taking a step backwards. And what does all that mean? It's like it gets to that point where you're about to be stuck in the past, which is not where you want to be. Yes. And you're comfortable. And we all like being comfortable sometimes, but when you're ready to move to the next level of where you want to be professionally, you have to let go of your comfort. That's that's another point. We'll get to that later. But when we're talking about releasing those old habits that no longer serve you, what is this going to require? My favorite word, reflection. This means you're going to have to sit down and literally, it's not even about having an honest conversation with yourself. Because before you have the conversation, you just really need to assess like what is it that you are doing? Who are the people you're hanging out with? What are the things that you're looking to do or that you've been doing? And then have that conversation with yourself about, well, is this still working for me or no? Or am I doing this just because, it feels good, it's nice, it's low effort, whatever that thing might be. Okay. If, and then let's get to that point of it, but is it still serving you? And this is probably where we have the most difficulty, right? In being honest with ourselves about whether something is still serving us. Because it's so easy to continue along a path and to continue doing something because, it's easy, it's comfortable, you know what to expect, right? But here's the thing, when you're looking to be inspired and taking on a level of inspiration that will feed you into new opportunities and to motivate you to take some action, well, then that means sometimes we got to let go of some of the things that we're comfortable with, that because they don't serve you or in the purpose that you've either um, been engaged in, or if you've done some resetting, it doesn't serve the new purpose. Okay. So it's really important. This is a real important first step. Release those old habits that no longer serve you. Okay. Because we want to make sure you have some fresh eyes, right? You don't have fresh eyes if you're dealing with old stuff, and it's not taking you to a new level. All right. So the second thing is we want to actively explore new places and new people. Man, that just like gets me all excited just even thinking about it, because that is like setting yourself up for fresh inspiration, right? When you go someplace new, when you go do something new, when you engage with new people, your brain literally responds differently to new things. Now, sometimes it's a little scared and it's okay, but it's like, okay, this is something new. Let me, your senses are heightened. You're much more aware of what's going on. And guess what? That means you are open to being able to being inspired by that new thing, by identifying something fresh, right? What's the fresh thing that you really want to be able to get engaged in? Well, how about going into, someplace new, going to meet some new people, put yourself in places where those things can happen. Now, I'm going to give you a caveat, because what if I were to tell you, fine, go to your old place, go hang out with your old people? And you're like, but that's the opposite of what you just said, except for I'm going to say, do those things in a new way. So even if you engage with old places, old people that you've known, old things that you've done, what can you do to engage with them or the place or the thing in a new way? That's again putting fresh eyes out there to be able to receive something new that will give you some inspiration that will lead to being able to, have that mindset reset, to build that confidence, to make that connection that will feed into taking some action. Okay. So do that. Actively do that. No, don't just wait for something to happen by accident. These things have to be created sometimes. Now, I am always, always, always going to say to be ready for the unexpected, to be spontaneous about doing some things. I mean, I literally had that happen in the last couple of weeks where something I was invited to on 24 hours notice. And I was like, oh my goodness. And I went back to my old mode of being able to, like, okay, what do I need to do? Who do I need to bring with me? What do I need to be prepared for to engage with this new experience, right? So I'm always going to advocate for that because there can be fantastic opportunities that come out of it. You'll meet new people, whatever. And I did all of those things. Okay. However, what I'm also saying is there are times when you have to initiate, because that's sometimes waiting on something external to happen, right? I'm talking about the internal, where you from the inside out initiate putting yourself in a new space, a new opportunity to be with new people. And that happens better when you plan it out, not just allowing it to happen haphazardly. Okay. So that's the second thing. The third thing, when you're looking beyond or needing to look beyond your circle for inspiration and why, is it's time to up level your discomfort. This is what I hinted at earlier. And up leveling your discomfort is totally about getting out of your comfort zone deliberately. It's a little bit of what I was just talking about, not just the newness of it, but getting out of your comfort zone as well. So, you could go do something new with some place that you're familiar with or doesn't make you comfortable. You're like, okay, it could be new, but it's still like you can deal. But when you deliberately put yourself in a space where you're not comfortable, that's a whole other thing, right? And to do it deliberately so that it literally forces you into new experiences, to be with new people. It forces you to a new level of growth potentially by doing that, by getting outside of your comfort zone, getting unstuck from doing the same old. Okay. This is difficult sometimes for some people. Some people can just say, I'm just going to do it and jump right in. Then there are those who are like, yeah, I'm not so sure about that. And I will tell you, take baby steps, right? Identify what are your levels of discomfort, right? And do the first thing, then do the second level, then the third. Because if you're going to grow, you have to get out of your comfort zone and move. And there's a big old world out there of opportunity for you to pursue in doing this and getting to that next level. And that means getting outside of your circle, exploring everything else that's outside of the circle, yes, and being open to what happens and what comes. And it's absolutely uncomfortable. And that's okay. It's the whole point at some point in time, right? Be deliberate about it. I can't, there's just so much more to be able to talk about that in a way. So DM me if you're interested in more ideas or tips about managing that. But I first highly encourage you to, that first part, identify where you are comfortable and where you need to step out of that comfort zone. And what are some of the things that you could do to force that issue? Okay. And ultimately, again, when you're doing that, you are seeing new things, new people that can inspire you to continue down that road and take action that you may have been stalled out on, right? Because you can now see there's somebody there who's doing it or who's talking about it or who believes what you believe. And you're like, oh my gosh, yes, and it's reinvigorating. These are all the things, but you have to get out your comfort zone in order to see those things sometimes, a lot of the times. Okay. That was the third one. The fourth thing is this is that follow-up piece. I'm always a big advocate about following up. This is that piece that's absolutely about the follow-up. And that means that you have to incorporate the new inspiration into what you do, who you're being at this moment. Okay. This is that part of taking action. It does no good to get all this fresh insight and be inspired and be like, yes. And then the next day you're like, oh, that was so nice. And you just go back to doing the same that you were doing. No, this again takes deliberate action and where you are like, okay, what was it about that really like touched me, that really I really connected with? What was it about that experience, about listening to that podcast, about meeting that person, about reading that article? What got my juices going? And writing that down, right? And because when you write it down, you're making it real and you're absolutely being able to say, oh, wow, this is it. This was the thing. And when you do that, you're like, okay, what can I take from this and now incorporate into what I'm doing today and moving forward? Okay. Now, I'm making it sound like it's this long, drawn out thing. It's not. This can literally happen within minutes, but you have to identify it, you have to make it real, and then you have to move. Okay. So that's identify it, make it real, and then move on it. And that's the action part. Okay. This is going to be so like just it'll just really shift who you are and how you're acting when you get to this point. All right. And as you're looking beyond, this is all about looking beyond your current circle for inspiration. Here's the thing I want to remind you, this is not about uprooting everything you've done or the people you've met or things like that. This is not about starting over. That's hard. This is not about starting over. This is about evolving to the next level. It's about taking the foundation that you've built so soundly to this point and putting another layer on it, right? Taking the things you've learned, the people you've met with, the things you've engaged in. And now you're like, okay, what more can I add to this foundation? And going outside of everything that's in that foundation already to say, now let me go look and see. Like, let's go look and see what we can bring home and add to this foundation that we've already built. Okay. So I want to make that point because somebody might out there might take this as oh gosh, let me go start all over, let me go, get all this new stuff and start from there. No, 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 no. We're not trying to uproot what you've done. We're trying to evolve beyond it, build upon it, and take you to the next level. This is a part of really solidifying that foundation that you have. Now, if there's something, again, if there's an old habit that was bad, well, yeah, you need to kick that one out. Let's take that out. Let's fix that crack in the foundation and move on. Okay. But there was good stuff there. There's no need to get rid of the good things. This is about building upon those good things and bringing new good things, new great things into the circle for you to move beyond and for you to incorporate into what you're doing moving forward. And when you're looking to achieve all those fantastic goals. Okay. That is it for today. I would love, love, love to hear from you. Tell me what you think about this, and let's keep going and taking some action and making sure that we don't have any more technical difficulties. Let's keep going and moving forward. And I would love to hear from you. If you want to set up a consult for a chat about about this or any of the other things that you need to in order to build yourself forward, reach out to me in the DMs or I'll drop the link in the comments for you to be able to click, and let's set up a time for a 20-minute consult just to chat about what it is you're doing, where you want to go, and what we can do to help you get there. Okay. Take care, everyone. And I look forward to talking with you again soon. Bye bye.